favorite flowers. I know it's kind of different, but I don't think that it matters.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing more house projects and we're going to be spending a lot of time actually here in the kitchen. We are getting our cabinets painted, I believe next week, and so we need to get everything done before they come for that. So we are doing like some beadboard along the outside of the island. We're also going to be putting it along the sides of the cabinets because we have a lot of damage on these cabinet sides, and that way it'll also just kind of tie in with the island that we're doing. So Kyle and I spent a couple hours yesterday figuring this all out, figuring out the logistics, how it was gonna work, and just like kind of getting prepped for this so that today, fingers crossed, we won't have any hiccups, things will go smoothly, we can get it all done. It's been a very, like, if you give a mouse a cookie kind of thing. The more we get into this, it's like, oh, we should replace the kick plates on all of the kitchen because those are no longer really good, like they're in pretty rough shape. It's just been one of those things. So we're also going to be replacing the kick plates in here. Oh, another thing is I'm gonna try to refinish the stools. I think we're gonna do like a black and then sand down the tops and do like natural wood, kind of like how we refinished that Facebook Marketplace dresser over there. We're gonna do something with our table eventually to kind of match that up as well. So anyway, we have a lot of things to get done today, so let's get into it.
I wanna hear you say that you only want me. You got me shaking, yeah, I feel the fever coming on.
All right, so we are going to start by taking all the chairs out, or I should say Kyle's gonna start by doing that while I chat with you guys for a second, because we are going to be replacing the baseboards down here with like just some really clean trim. It's actually gonna be a little bit thicker than this one. I'll show you what we spent. Literally, it probably took us like 2.5 hours to do this one section, but it was because we were learning as we went. Like, it always goes faster once you do the first section. So this is basically what we are going to be doing. It looks rough right now because it's not been like caulked or sanded or anything like that, and obviously not painted, so it's all dirty and everything, but this is kind of what it was before. It's just drywall on this side, and then this side is just like the regular side of the island. But we are going to put the beadboard there, framing it out to make it look really nice and custom. So we are just going to replace the baseboards with this bottom piece. That way we don't have like baseboard and then trim, and it goes really high up. I feel like it'll just kind of look a little bit nicer. So we're starting out by taking off all of the baseboards.
I tried to shake it, find a way to get you off my mind. Really tried to draw that line. One look from you, I'm praying I could call you mine. Baby, you got my hands.
Now we've deconstructed it even more. This was just how it was. This was just like the damage that it was there before anyway. And then this right here is like just the kick plate piece that we're gonna be pulling off. The other side actually had some water damage. We pulled it off over there, but then we're just going to put a whole full piece right here, kind of like we had in our Utah house. It's really clean, and then it will just match really nicely with this, especially once it all gets painted. This is our second time using beadboard in our house. Just a few weeks ago, we actually completely did one of the upstairs bathrooms and turned out amazing. I will link that video up here in the iCards for you guys if you haven't seen it. But we really love the classic look of beadboard, and we also love that it adds texture and interest, but it does it in such a simple and not distracting way. And one little tip we actually shared over on a recent vlog over on our vlog channel, which if you're not over there, it's just Kyle and Amanda. You can find it here on YouTube. But we ended up getting this entire huge sheet of beadboard for 70% off because it had this tiny little tear on the side. So anytime you see a damaged item at Home Depot or places like that, you can definitely ask them if they'll give you a discount on it. And a lot of times it's really worth your time to ask them because, like I said, we ended up getting this for about 70% off. And anything that you can do to save money during these projects, it definitely helps. Here we're just marking where the outlets are, and we are using a multi-tool to cut a hole so that the beadboard will fit right around the outlet. And if you are doing these projects and you don't have a lot of these tools, a lot of times you can find them for pretty inexpensive on Facebook Marketplace, or you can even rent them from your local hardware store. So definitely don't let that deter you from doing these kind of projects. So this is the glue that we're using just to like give it a little extra stability, and then Kyle's going to also be using his nail gun to really attach it.
I'm on the run, afraid of heights, and too much for sound, but oh, you make me numb like no one else. You're too much to calm me down. Oh, you're another.
Okay, so Kyle just taught me something. So when you're using a nail gun, like if it hits something hard, he's like, don't just put your hand here because it can actually ricochet and like basically bend out. This one down here, can you see that? Like there's a nail, so he hit it here. We have a metal post right here, and it like whoosh, turned up. So like if you were holding it like down here or something, it would go through your fingers. So be very careful when you're using nail guns, just like another little trick, I guess, or something good to know. So if we were not doing this thick post on the edges, then we would be like really specific and making sure we're getting it just kind of like we did in the bathroom upstairs, but we're not worried about that because all this is going to be covered by the big boards.
I don't mean to speak this up a line, but the way you move is perfect by design. You look just like you fell down from the sky. Yeah, you're on another level, and you got something special. If I could let you fall in love with me, you know I would. You got me with your hook, and all you got to do is
That's how we know which ones to put
yeah.
together.
So we drew half a heart on each side so we know these sides do not get cut.
baby, it's your move, your move, your move. It's your move, your move, your move. Like we talk on you, on you, on you. If you want me, you just gotta say please. Baby, it's your move, your move, your move. Now I'm sure that you get this all the time. But your eyes make diamonds look like just alright, alright. Adidas shoes and freckles, just my type. Yeah, and you got the credentials, making me go mental. If I could let you fall in love with me, you know I would. You got me with your hook, and all you got to do is pull. It's your move, your move, your move. Now it's all on you, on you. If you want it me, you just gotta say please. Baby, it's your move, your move, your move.
We actually went back and forth on different ways to do the beadboard. We could have done just beadboard and not trimmed anything out, and we kind of like that look, but we ended up feeling like adding the trim just gave it a little bit more of a high-end look. And on the bright side, doing it this way saved us a lot of money because we were able to cut bigger sections out of the beadboard, and we didn't waste like basically any of the beadboard, which was definitely an added bonus. But as you can see, we just cut all the beadboard all at once. Then we went ahead and just attached all the beadboard, and once we got all that attached, then we were gonna go out and start cutting all of the trim pieces, get that all cut and attach that. We kind of got our own little assembly line going. Okay, so we obviously haven't trimmed anything out yet, but it is looking so much better. Still, you know, very rough, but you can kind of see. And then right here, we are just gonna do like one straight piece of wood because there would be like an inch or something of beadboard inside, and I feel like it would look weird. So we're gonna do a straight piece of wood right there, and then the rest will all be trimmed out. So this is the way that we are going to basically measure. So we are going to have a piece of wood on this side, and we're gonna have a piece of wood on that side. But these corners, like on our wall, are actually rounded. And so this is going to give us a straight edge that will match up perfectly. We'll find out if it actually makes sense or not.
A minute until midnight. I'm just wondering where you at. Just thought I
Minor change of plans. This kind of thing happens a lot when we're doing these projects. Like we just kind of make things up as we go. So we're putting this up, measuring it, it's all coming out nice. So our plan originally was to do two 45-degree angles.
Yep, so we're gonna go like
Oh
this.
yeah, so like this.
And then another 45 that comes to a point.
And
right
basically
here.
it will be squared off right there.
And we went to measure it.
And to measure it, yeah, like we put the 45 here just to like double check our measurement to make sure it was gonna look nice. And we were like, actually, I kind of like that. Obviously it'll be painted, but then this way it's like, you just have that nice corner right here. And so this board, we won't have to 45-degree angle. We won't have to be meeting two joints together like that. And it will actually be a lot more durable with a bunch of kids and pets and stuff. So we are just going to like 45-degree angle the edges, and then the fronts will all be flat.
Looks good.
Yeah, I like
We could do
it.
the same thing to this one for that corner. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah, let's do that.
yeah, let's do that. Cool.
Okay.
Okay, so we cut some scrap pieces. It's obviously all burned right there, which is fine. It'll all get painted, but that'll be like how the corner looks. That looks really nice.
Does it look good from back there?
Yeah, it does. Yep, and once it's all painted, it'll just look really, really seamless.
I don't get anything done, you're stuck on my mind. I keep on missing your touch, missing your vibe. This feeling I go when I sit what we had. Would you come on over? Don't you miss me too? Give it all you got, babe. Give it all you got, baby. I'd rather try than lose you. Give it all you got, baby. Give me all you got.
It's been like, I don't even know how many hours, like 6 hours.
It's been quite some time. It's 4:30.
Yeah, so the boys are home. They're getting ready right now because they all have like football practice or different things going on tonight. We do need to go grab one more, I think just one more board. So Kyle will run and do that while he's bringing Noah to his practice. And then I'll be taking care of the other two, but we'll get it all done.
I know that I should keep it cool, babe. Not lose my swag and play the fool, babe. Just play the game and hold on, maybe. But I'm done with the waiting, done with the waiting. I'm done with playing nice. Now look me in the eyes. Tell me what you see inside. Not gonna ask you.
For the trim, we have two different pieces. For the tops and sides, we are using a 3.5 by 1 inch board. And then for the bottom trim, which is kind of acting as the baseboard, we wanted it to be a little bit taller. So we used a 5.5 inch by 1 to give a bigger impact. And also we wanted that to match the trim of our existing baseboards around the house so it didn't look out of place.
Do you wanna go? Do you wanna go? Do you wanna go? Those who wanna play by the rules and a blast with nothing to obtain. So let's level up to remain. 'Cause I'm done with the waiting, done with the waiting.
All right, we have totally lost light. It's literally dark outside. But I wanted to show you what we're gonna do on the front. Basically, like there were no boards that were the exact right width that we needed. So we are gonna use the table saw, but this is just a nice piece of plywood. We're just gonna like cut it straight down the middle to fit, and then we'll cut it to the height that we need to. And then once we do that, then we'll cut the height, and then this will be like the front edge of our island.
Not because my eyes are open, your words will keep bouncing away. And even if you try to
The width is good. Look at that, fits perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
So we just got to cut the length,
Yeah.
and we're good.
And then Kyle kind of had an idea. We weren't really sure what to do with this, if we should like break it up and to have like the bottom and top to frame it. And so we have like extra baseboards and stuff. So we're actually going to end up, this is obviously too long, so it's kind of pushed out, but we're actually going to end up doing this. Here you can see on this side. And it'll basically like kind of wrap around, and it'll look almost like this is being framed out as well.
even if you try to hurt me, my skin's getting thicker each day. I don't know how you fall asleep at night, knowing that your words are hurtful. It's just not.
All right, you guys, we are in day 2. I'm not sure how you are, but I am like the worst judgment of like how long I think something's going to take. I'm like, oh, I can get like 30 things done today, and then it's like I get 2 or 3 things done, and it takes me a week instead of like 2 days. So I don't know. Anyway, we are into day 2. We did get our island done. Obviously, we still haven't like caulked it or sanded, anything like that. The only thing left in the kitchen is to put the beadboard and trim on these bottom pieces and the side pieces, and then the one right there by the stove. But we aren't going to be trimming them out the same way, so we will have to figure out exactly like what kind of trim we're going to use. Probably just something a little bit smaller and like kind of daintier. Kyle is actually not here right now because poor little Noah woke up with like a slightly swollen eye, and he said it was kind of sore. So Kyle ran him to the doctor really quick. He thinks that it's going to end up being like an infection in the eye. Probably nothing serious because it's not like really intense, but we just wanted to get a hold of it before it did get intense. So while he is there, I cannot work on all the kitchen stuff without him, but it's fine because I have plenty to do. We are going to get started on flipping these Facebook Marketplace find island chairs. But basically what we are going to end up doing with these is painting the body of the chair a black color, and it's actually just a licorice color from Beyond Paint. Surprise, surprise, I'm bringing out Beyond Paint again. And then for the seats, I'm just going to sand these down, put a nice poly on them, and it'll end up kind of mimicking this look. It'll look really nice and modern. It will leave some brightness on the chairs, but it'll also look really pretty against like the light colored cabinets, the light stone that we have. And we do have like an extended island now, so it could fit 2 chairs over there, but I only have 5 because the lady only had 5 to sell. And so I'm just not sure if that would look kind of weird having like just 1 chair on the other edge, but I'll get like 2 more just that don't have any backs, and I can just kind of tuck those onto the island. I think that's the plan, but that won't be today because I don't have them. I just have to scour Facebook Marketplace and kind of see what I can find. But anyway, we do still have a lot to get done. There's more than just these 2 things that we need to get done today. So, you know, let's get all of it done today. No day 3. We'll see.
Everybody's carefree. Everybody's carefree. Don't you wanna party? Sitting in the crowd feeling hard.
So the first thing you have to do is just take the seats off, and they're really easy to take off. You just flip the chair over, and then it's literally just these 4 screws right there, and the seat itself will actually pop off.
Acting like tomorrow will never come. Counting every moment till the weekend comes. I just wanna dance. I just wanna dance, 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 dance.
So I'm just gonna start out with a 60 grit sandpaper. I'm just gonna do like a very rough sand on all of them to kind of get the top finish off, and then I'll kind of move my way down, or I guess up from there, up to like a 220 grit, and that is going to get it like buttery soft, so smooth, but we can't do that until we get like the bulk of the stain and the finish off first. Okay, so obviously I'm not done, but this is turning out so pretty. It's definitely gonna be dull, so I am for sure gonna have to do a poly to give it a little bit of its luster back, and also obviously to protect the wood. But I'm definitely gonna have to go grab some more 60 grit sandpaper because that's for sure what I need with this. But I'm loving how it's looking. two done, and I'm just going over them really quick with a 220 grit sandpaper, and I wish you guys could feel it, but the difference between like just a rough sand and then going over with a really high grit sandpaper is you are going to feel like it won't feel like raw wood so much anymore. It'll just feel like so super soft.
I'm wondering how many men that you trapped and dumped in the ocean. I wish that I could understand why I had this stupid crush.
All right, that first clip you just saw was the real time of how long it took me to sand these. And then you can see I definitely sped this up so much. But these wooden seats ended up taking me about 8 minutes each to fully sand. And although it was not satisfying to do and to sand it myself and take that long with everything, it is kind of satisfying to watch the time lapse. But thankfully it was totally worth it, and I ended up loving how it looked once I was done. All right, I have all 5 seats nice and sanded. We are going to obviously have to wipe them down, do the poly. It's getting a little warm out here, so I'm kind of debating if I'm going to bring the chairs inside with a nice drop cloth to paint them in there, or if I'll end up just painting them out here. I just don't want them to like I don't want the paint to be drying too quickly out here. I just don't know. I've always painted with Beyond Paint inside, so we'll see. But I think it's gonna look so nice. We are making progress, and the hardest part of these chairs is done, and that was sanding all these seats. My fingers are like vibrating right now.
Over there being perfect, getting the roses. I bet that you don't even care if my
Let me know if you're able to envision how these are going to look. Kyle always tells me he has a hard time seeing the end product in his mind before it's actually done, but these stools ended up turning out just as I had pictured them in my mind. I really love what we decided to do with them, adding the contrast between the dark black that we're going to be painting here in a minute and the look of the light raw wood. It's very contrasting, it's very modern, and I just love how they came out. So once you see them all done, you'll have to let me know what you think. All right, so I went ahead and wiped off all the stools, got them nice and clean, and we are opening a new can of Beyond Paint. So this one is licorice color. It's basically black, but I am gonna paint it in here, not by the counters. We're gonna do it over here on this drop cloth. But the thing with Beyond Paint is you want to like stipple with your brush into any crevices that you can't roll, but then you want to roll absolutely everything that you can. And you're just going to want to use a 3/8 inch nap roller brush or roller. So don't use like a foam roller. That's what I originally would have thought for this, but they want it to be like slightly textured, and it just makes it more durable, and it also gives like a really professional finish. And with this, thankfully, you do not have to sand with Beyond Paint, so we don't have to worry about that step. I'm just gonna go ahead, open up the can, stir it up, pour it out, and get started on these. I really don't think these will take too long because I've done Beyond Paint several times, and it's like the easiest thing ever.
I've never choose to let this slip, but I'm here somewhere in the ocean. Still wrapped around your fingertip, just like beating around the bush. I'm half the man I used to be after being dumped in the ocean. I bet that you don't even care if my body drifts ashore. Here in the ocean, nobody can.
One thing I always want to note is Beyond Paint comes out so thick, so don't let that alarm you or anything. That's totally normal for it. But truly, Beyond Paint stretches so far. For example, if you are already subscribed to the channel, you probably already saw we have used Beyond Paint several other times. I think my favorite color from them is the Pebble. It's kind of like a gray taupe color, so beautiful. And with that paint can, we have done one of our bathrooms, a built-in desk, our master bathroom, our boys' closet shelves, Liam's bathroom, and we still have some left. And all of that was done with 1 gallon of paint. So even though these cans are between $100 and $150 a gallon, they really do stretch so far. And in my experience, Beyond Paint is such a better value than any of the other cabinet or furniture paint that I've found.
Wait, Mom, can I try to paint one?
You want to paint with me?
Yeah.
All right, Noah's gonna be my little helper. You ready? Noah's on a little snack break with a popsicle.
What's two?
2 popsicles. I got 1 coat on the chairs. We do need to do another coat, but I'm gonna show you like the difference that the second coat makes. Usually I'll do 2 coats with a touch up of a third. Sometimes I'll just do 3 coats, but it just kind of depends how it goes.
We got a summer of the kind of movie love. All in for some more of anything that comes along. Oh, forever high above the
Kyle is back. I have 1 chair with a second coat. The others I have to kind of work on, but he is going to start measuring the sides of the cabinets so that we can start putting beadboard up here. And then also we are just adding like a really thin little trim piece so it won't like overpower them, but it'll kind of mimic how we have it on the island.
blue skies and nights when it's never keeping track of time. Sun, it's skin driving and all I can breathe is you, so I only for this ride.
One tip I wanted to share is if you are using beadboard and not covering the edges with trim like we are, you'll want to put your brad nails into the creases to help hide them. That's what we did in Liam's bathroom upstairs, and the nails ended up being super hidden. Like once you were all done caulking and painting everything, you could not tell they were there at all.
Ever summer high, I know that we'll be fine. Letting go free falling, living on top of the world. Blue skies and nights when it's never keeping track of time. Sun, it's skin driving and all I can breathe is you, so I only for this
All right, Kyle is cutting down the trim pieces to go over the beadboard, and the paint is all done on the chairs. So now we're going to do a quick coat of poly on the tops of the stools just to protect them, make them easy to clean, all that stuff.
can't find a time where I can tell ya what I feel now. Been biting my tongue for a while. The words just wanna come out. I'm too afraid.
Once I was done adding the poly to the wooden seats, I love the look of them, but I feel like it didn't give me the full coverage feel that I was hoping for. I feel like you can still kind of feel that raw wood underneath. Kyle said that he really loves it, but I'm just not sure. So if you guys have any suggestions on poly that you've used previously, let me know in the comments. I would greatly appreciate your feedback on that. Right, we are nearing the end, you guys. We're gonna let those dry, and we are gonna do something like a little bit random or very random. So if you guys know like the loft area upstairs, basically that couch, it's I think 3 sections. Like there's one and then a corner piece and then the other section. You guys ready for my hand gestures? So this is the couch. Here's a piece and here's a piece. This piece like always ends up like scooting out like this, or it comes up this way or whatever. And so, well, no, I guess it doesn't really come forward. It just like mostly scoots away from the wall, but like it gets all wonky because there's just like nothing to kind of support it. So we are going to, we have some 2x4s, and Kyle's upstairs right now measuring for that. And basically we're just gonna put like a 2x4 on the floor right behind the couch. That way it like keeps the couch pushed away from the wall, but it gives it something to push into. The curtains can hang nicer, and hopefully it'll help just kind of like stabilize the couch a little bit, because it'll push like all the legs closer and onto the rug and everything. So anyway, that's what we're gonna do. We'll see how it goes, but we're gonna do that while the stool tops dry. And oh my gosh, you guys, I seriously need to tackle this garage. It's been put off because we've just been doing like 1,000 projects around the house. So probably next week.
Time you touch me, babe, you send me right out into space. You send me right out into
Okay, so this is what I was kind of talking about. So if you see, the couch is like tied up against the wall right here, and then here it always just like kind of scoots out. I don't know, it just always kind of goes every which way. And then also like the curtains, they are just there for look, but they look weird when they're just pressed up against. So I always try to like move the couch back. Hey Ben, hey bench boy. Hi, so sweet. Anyway, so I try to pull the couch back or away from the wall so that the curtains can hang nice, but then it always ends up pushing back. So we're gonna try this out, see if the boards work. If they do, we'll actually pull them out another day, sand them down, stain them, just in case like you see the edge of it and it does look weird. And we'll also like just put some little brackets to attach them so they don't move, but we'll see how it goes. If it works well, we'll do that. If not, then you know, we're not really out. We'll just use those boards for something else.
Let's get some sun, baby, it's time to go. All we need to put on is the radio. I can feel the heat is rising, and that beat is hypnotizing.
Okay, this is one of those things like you don't even fully notice a whole ton, but it does actually make it so like the curtains hang a lot nicer. We'll see if we'll end up wanting like 6 inches out, or you know, if it even holds. But there you go, like a little quick DIY couch spacer. If you don't want your couch pushed all the way up to the edge of the wall, you can give yourself just a few inches. It'll let those curtains hang nice. And I do think that if we attach them, like if they work, we are gonna attach them to make them a little bit more permanent, not to the floor or anything, but just like to each other so they don't like shift around. But like a couple bucks and we got our own little couch spacer from the wall thing. All right, before we go put together the chairs, we are in our theater room. Oh, we'll do that in a minute. Wanna say hi?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, it's me who painted.
Anyway, we have like a blanket wall right here. Basically all it is just a piece of wood and then hooks, and it's so nice because then we can just like pick our blanket, put it back up. It's really nice and convenient. But I ordered some mix tiles, just some of our family pictures, and I wanted to put them up here. They're super easy to put up. You just basically level them and then they stick to the wall with these little stickies. And so I thought while we're up here, we'll go ahead and just put these up and then we'll go downstairs.
And I will help.
You gonna help? We'll finish up putting those chairs together.
I wanna do a...
Let's get loud, come on, lose control. Got to live or we get too old. Come on, shine, shine a little tonight. Let's get loud, come on, lose control. Ain't no limit while we go for more. We can shine, shine a little tonight. Shine a little tonight. Shine a little tonight.
Oh my gosh, this was such a long day, and the day before was really long, even though you guys are seeing it in a matter of like 30 minutes, but I totally thought that putting the chair tops on would be very quick and easy and just, you know, a tiny little thing. And it ended up not being like that. It definitely took a while to get the chair tops put back onto the chairs because as it turns out, the holes were not fully matched up to the seats, and each seat went with a specific chair. And I clearly didn't keep track of that because I didn't realize that was the case. So it ended up taking us some time to kind of match them back up and get them all attached and put back together. But in the end, it was worth it. They look so, so good. You guys will have to let me know what you're thinking of the chairs and of the beadboard and the island. Obviously, the island itself is not painted, but let me know your thoughts. We are definitely loving it. Now this was actually a couple days later. We got some time and Kyle started cutting down the wood to make our new kick plates. And then we also went through, sanded all the corners, all the edges, just to make sure everything was nice and flush. And then Kyle actually filled everything in. So we puttied all the edges, corners, and joints and all the nail holes, sanded those down a final time. And now we just have to wipe everything down and they will be ready to get painted this coming week.
Don't get me started. I love the way you look at me. Don't you see what you've done? Don't want a broken heart, and please never let me go. Can we be more than friends just for once? Yeah, you make me wanna try. Yeah, you turn my lows into
Next week, you guys are going to be seeing some of the paintings starting to happen. They said it's going to take a little bit of time because we are going to be getting them professionally painted. And in next week's video, we'll kind of talk about why we are getting them professionally painted versus painting them ourselves. But I am so excited to share everything as we continue to progress through this kitchen renovation. As always, you can see some of the behind the scenes over on our Kyle and Amanda vlog channel, and everything else will be here on the main channel. There is so much more coming, so stay tuned. And if you are not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button and we will see you in the next one. Bye guys.